Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about that news that came out about approximately maybe 2 days ago about the Moon Knight announcement. I'm going to talk about it all here. I'm going to talk about it, and everyone knows what the big thing is. Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, it's one of those things that, I'm gonna just talk about my excitement for it first, and then I'm gonna get into the crap ton of things that came afterwards. You know, the whole Jewish thing and all those other things. But Oscar Isaac is a fantastic actor. I mean, knockout, drag out, great actor. He's been in a ton of fantastic movies. He's about to be in the latest in the Dune movie coming out. He was obviously he was in the Star Wars movie as Poe Dameron. He was in a couple he's been in a lot of movies. Ex Machina, you know, that's the movie that really kind of like got people's attention. But yeah, Oscar Isaac is just simply one of the best. He's one of the best working actors in Hollywood. He's in tons of things, and you know, he has mad range up and down. There's pretty much nothing that guy can't do. And you know, now this kind of came as a shock to a lot of people because before there was a lot of rumors about who was going to play Moon Knight. At one point people thought Keanu Reeves was going to play Moon Knight. At one point people thought Shia LaBeouf was up there. Daniel Radcliffe was up there. There was a lot of people up there. Hell, before you know, it got confirmed, before you know before it got confirmed that it was, you know, that it was Oscar Isaac, a lot of people thought it was gonna be Divvy Diggs. If you don't know, Divvy Diggs is he played Thomas Jefferson in the Hamilton play. Divvy Diggs, and he's the main character on that Snowpiercer show. I haven't watched that Snowpiercer show, but I heard he's pretty good in it. Or I think his name is Justin Crowe, which he's a comedian, and I was just like, and that shit threw me off. First I was like, okay, maybe Divvy Diggs. I mean, I like him. I mean, he's been in a couple of things that I liked. Trainspotting, you know, I haven't seen Trainspotting, but everyone says that movie's fantastic. But yeah, I was just like, okay. And then the Oscar Isaac thing came out. Now, I'm excited about this, you know, because like I said, Oscar Isaac is a fantastic actor. And the fact that you get an actor like him, Oscar Isaac has been a big time, you know, on-screen lead. So the fact that you even have him in technically he's not confirmed to be taking on the role, but considering that right after the confirmation that he was in negotiations, that it dropped that they found a director like immediately after this, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they probably got him. And like I said, a lot of people were surprised about this because he didn't have the funnest time on the prequels trilogy, as did many people. I mean, I think he had a much better time than Boyega did, you know, because Boyega, he is, you know, he was pissed. Like, he read that whole letter about how Disney screwed him and everything. I'm like, I don't know if John Boyega is gonna ever come back to do anything with Disney. I almost said Rhea Ripley. Daisy Ridley is just like, she's basically pretty much just said she's not going to do franchises. And I haven't really even seen her name attached to anything large. Like, so Daisy Ridley's kind of been, not, you know, hurt by the experience, but like, sort of soured her on the big franchise experience. But you know, clearly a lot of people thought Oscar Isaac felt the same way because he felt kind of, you know, he didn't have the greatest time on the prequel trilogy on Force Awakens and Last Jedi and whatnot, and I got what was it, Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, he didn't have the funnest time on that. He felt like he was deceived. Actually, basically most of the crew felt like they were deceived on that prequel trilogy. So a lot of people wouldn't think that he would ever come back to work with Disney. Thing is, the MCU is a different animal. Most people who worked in the MCU have no bad blood. There's only a couple people, the guy who played Malekith, Hugo Weaving with playing Red Skull. There's only a couple people who really did not enjoy their experience working with the Marvel Studios. Like I said, there's only a couple people who really didn't, and those people. And even with Hugo Weaving, it was less about working with Marvel Studios and more about the makeup and whatnot. Which today he probably wouldn't even have to do all that stuff. I'm sure they couldn't get him to come back because Hugo Weaving really doesn't do any. I haven't really seen Hugo Weaving in anything big in years. So you know, it is what it is. But Marvel is different, and clearly, you know, Oscar Isaac didn't burn any bridges enough. You know, like, I don't think Daisy really burnt any bridges too. It just felt like they might not want to do something like this. So it's good to see that he's not against working with Disney again. It's good to see he's a businessman who's thinking about his money. But all seriousness, it's like, you know, that's why a lot of people were surprised too. Not to mention, there was a lot of people putting a lot of weight into that Jewish thing, because one of the big things at the beginning was they were looking for someone Jewish. Like, that was the casting call. Like, you know, same thing with happened with She-Hulk when everyone was like, oh, they're looking for what the hell is that? Alison Brie type. Like, that was the whole She-Hulk thing, was the casting call was they were looking for Alison Brie type. And one of the things that was on the casting call for Moon Knight was they were looking for someone Jewish. And a lot of people kind of made assumptions, like maybe they were looking for someone Jewish or Egyptian, since Moon Knight has that connection to, you know, Egyptians. I mean, the Egyptian connection, even though from what I've read, it's more of a connection to the Jewish thing than than the actual Egyptian thing, because, I mean, there are white Jews. That's why I kind of weirded out when I heard hearing people talk about, like, well, at least it wasn't a white guy. I'm like, there are white Jews. Like, Moon Knight being a white dude isn't that, I mean, it's not like there aren't, but, you know, if that's a position where you could cast a minority and it really wouldn't change much, you know, because there's so many different layers to the, you know, to the Jewish religion. There's so many different people. There are black Jews. There are, you know, there's so many different layers to that. There are so many different people who are Jewish. Like, it's so, like, it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, but yeah, like, a lot of people kind of were surprised because that, like, all those names, like Daniel Radcliffe and whatnot, a lot of those people are like, he's Jewish, and there's a lot of people like that who are Jewish, that, like, actors who are being promoted. That there's a lot of people who were pushing for that guy from what the hell was that movie? Invisible Man. I can't remember his name, but he's pretty good. He was Invisible Man and he was in Haunting at Hill House. There's a lot of people who were pushing for that guy, which I could see. He could do the broken thing pretty well. He's in physically great shape too. But, you know, I guess they wanted to go for star power here. They wanted to go for star power. And apparently, from what I hear, apparently Oscar Isaac is Jewish on his father's side, but he's not practicing Jewish. Like, it's in his blood. Like, it's a thing. Like, his father practices it. So he personally doesn't, but he is technically Jewish on his father's side. He doesn't practice it himself. Which is, you know, well, like I said, it's the same thing that happened when, why am I forgetting his name? Dude who's playing Shang-Chi. When the actor who's playing Shang-Chi, I was Simu Liu. When Simu Liu got cast as Shang-Chi, the same thing happened. There was a lot of people who were raging out because they were like, oh, you cast a Canadian actor, a Canadian Asian, a Canadian American in this role, and not someone from just Asia. And it was like the people keep moving the goalpost here for that shit. They really do. Like, I'm telling you right now, when they announced that they hired someone from Africa to play Brother Voodoo and not someone who's from Hades, they're gonna, like, when they say, oh, we hired somebody from, like, some not Hades. I'm trying to think of an African country, but not Hades. When they say but not Hades, because Brother Voodoo is usually from Hades. Not a Haitian. When they say they hired someone else who's not a Haitian, oh my God, people are gonna lose their shit. People are going to lose their shit, and it's gonna be less about the fact that they got a minority. Like, this weird game, minority, is kind of getting out of control a bit. Because, like I said, I saw the same thing when Simu Liu got announced, and it was such a stupid thing. I was like, wait a minute. We're not talking about the fact that we're getting a major Asian, blockbuster movie with, like, $200 million blockbuster movie with Asian characters, and an Asian character, the first Asian lead in the first major Asian lead in any American superhero, production. It's probably gonna be the biggest production ever put to to have a majority Asian cast. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that the fucking dude you cast happened to be from Canada, but he is also Asian himself. His family are Asian, and it's like, wait a minute, that's what we're talking about? We're not going to talk about the good stuff? And the same thing with this. We're not talking about the fact that we have another minority in a great big role, and he is Jewish on his father's side. We're talking about the fact that, well, you could have cast someone who was just outright Jewish, and, out and out Jewish, someone with a smaller name. And then we started having this discussion about names, and I'm just like, they cast this Tatiana Maslany's chick, and I haven't seen her in anything. Granted, she's a two-time Emmy. She's an Emmy-winning actress and like a 2-time or 3-time Emmy-nominated actress. So clearly, I missed the boat on her. but no one was like, I haven't really heard of her. So it's one of those funny things with that it's just like, I just had to bring it up because I saw some people angry about the whole it not being Jewish, him not being Jewish, and I'm curious to how much that's going to be a part of his character. Now you know what I got to do. Now I got to start reading more Moon Knight because I haven't really read Moon Knight. I have the Marvel Unlimited thing, and I have books on the queue, like just books that I haven't read, that I've planned on reading. Like, I haven't finished the Vision comic yet. I haven't finished I got a Punisher book that I still haven't finished. Like, there's a whole bunch of books that I got on that little list. But now I gotta add Moon Knight to it. But I am excited about this. First of all, when you see the people behind it, it's a big deal. First of all, the main creative force / showrunner on it is the same guy who co-wrote, who wrote and developed Umbrella Academy. And you know how much I love Umbrella Academy. Same guy who co-wrote and developed Umbrella Academy is the same guy who's leading the writing room and being the producer on Moon Knight. So that should kind of give you an idea of how weird Moon Knight's going to be and how the action is going to be. I'm very happy about that. And they got a director I have never heard of before. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. But apparently he's made some waves over there in Egypt. Like, I didn't even know Egypt had a poppin', had a poppin' film industry, man. I mean, it makes sense. Everybody's got a film industry, but it's just like one of those things. And apparently, like, he was the director of like the biggest Indian blockbuster movie. Like, I mean, big is subjective, in America, because big to us is like $1 billion, but apparently that was a really big movie over there. Like, kind of like that one movie that was weird over in China. I can't remember the name of it. But it was apparently one of the biggest movies in Chinese history. It came out a couple years ago, but it was huge. It came out like a year before Endgame came out, and it was a huge movie. Then Endgame came out, and I was like, well. But still, they got this guy, and I've never heard of this guy before, but his Egyptian roots, and according to a lot of other people who have seen talk about him, a lot of his movies that he's made, because he has a filmography, like, he's not fresh to this game. He's never made a film on this scale. He's never did anything on this scale. He's never directed anything on this scale, and for a company this big, but his filmography, he has a filmography, but apparently a lot of his stuff is more, is more personable about the experience in Egypt, because he's an Egyptian. He's from Egypt. A lot of his stuff is like kind of talking about the experience in Egypt. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find any of his stuff, man. Like, because like all his stuff, I was like, I've never even heard of that. At least when they got that one lady who's directing Eternals, I was like, I heard of the writer. Like, I haven't seen it. I didn't want to watch it. I'm probably gonna have to watch it now. But I heard of the writer. I've never heard of anything this dude's done. And I mean, like I said, the MCU has done this interesting thing with these I almost say Netflix shows, with these Disney Plus shows, where they have a mixture of known and unknowns. Like, the people behind the scenes, like I said, I want to shout out that no one's really making a big enough deal about the kind of talent they have behind the scenes on these Disney Plus shows. You're talking about one of the Rick and Morty creators. You're talking about a woman, the lead writer on fucking She-Hulk is the woman who wrote that Pickle Rick episode and won an Emmy Award winning person. You're talking about it just was announced. I'm not gonna make a video about this, but it was just announced not too long ago that the woman who does the music for Lovecraft Country, who won an Emmy for it, is gonna be doing the music for What If. So, like, there's so many things going on. They got one of the writers of John Wick. They got the co-writer of John Wick working on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, they got some stuff going on behind the scenes that nobody's really talking about. That, like, I'm personally looking more forward to She-Hulk because the actress seems aces, and the people behind it, I'm like, yo, they got the kind of people they got behind it. I'm like, yo, these are some funny women. Like, the women they have behind that movie, that show, are just funny women. When you look at their filmography, you're like, the Pickle Rick writer, hilarious episode, one of the funniest episodes, one of those iconic Rick and Morty episodes. And the director, I can't remember her name on top of my head, has directed multiple episodes of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and other hilarious comedy shows and other shows of actual action in it too. So they are like crossing the gambit over there. I'm excited about Disney Plus, period. But having Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, I can't be any more excited about it. Now there is a little tidbit that I'm going to just tack on here at the end, because I might save this to make an entire video about it. There is the conversation to be had about the violence of it and how far can they push it, but I'm going to talk about that in a later video. Thank you guys for watching the Comic Game Move Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. And are you excited for Moon Knight? Are you excited for Oscar Isaac to be Moon Knight? I am. Great actor. So far between the producer and the writer, who is, like I said, guy behind Umbrella Academy. So just will that in your wheelhouse. Just get that going in your brain. Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show again. I'll see you guys on the next one.